Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's daily brief recap. Woohoo! Party. Where are we here? I think Wednesday, the 27th of May, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So Canadians got a couple of days to get your taxes filed. Be good citizens. All that kind of fun talk. Interesting to see our breadth indicator basically fast is jumping up above slow. Kind of, I suppose, ironically enough, it actually corresponds with what we're seeing in the market these days, stock-wise. And of course, our penny stock club, David O, just killing it. We had a fun meeting last night. Unfortunately, I had to go for a goddamn root canal yesterday, so that was no fun. So I wasn't really in the best shape for the meeting last night, but lots of really good ideas being thrown around. Kevin had a couple new ideas. Actually, we didn't even talk about that this morning, did we, Kevin? So maybe we should take a look at those later on. But what's cool is that he was away Monday, Tuesday. I think I did an okay job on yesterday's daily brief recap, but I could have totally messed it up. I don't know. But great to have Kevin back on working with me here this morning, and I know we're heading in a good direction. And also, too, man, he's one hell of a stock picker. Having lots of fun picking stocks lately. And actually, he was even telling me when we get to crypto, one of his cryptos just paid him this morning. So, if anything, what a great demonstrator of best practices. Love working with these people. So, for the purposes of your conversation here today, just a general overview of risk on, risk off. What are we sort of doing in the market? Is there anything critical, levels coming in, that kind of thing? And interesting enough, the conversation really is not changing much here for over the past month or so. Still sort of deciding if the world's going to go to hell in a handbasket. Coronaviruses, second waves, all that kind of fun talk. I'm getting the impression that the banksters are also too doing a lot of saber rattling in here. They might just pull the carpet out from underneath us. I doubt it, but they might. I am hearing a lot of wranglings over there in Europe now. So maybe we might even find that the tension is taken away from the United States central bank. Private corporation, by the way, not affiliated with the government, and the attention appears to be now on the ECB. I don't know whether the ECB is actually a private corporation, or whether the bureaucrats in Brussels and all that have made it actually an entity of the government. I don't think so, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was a private corporation. But from what I understand, they actually are threatening to take the Bundesbank, Germany's biggest bank, central bank. I'm not quite sure how that works over there, to court to honor some sort of deal. So, for the time being, we're just continually seeing ranges compress on the US dollar index. Did we get a little M here, suggesting euro actually is trying to find a bottom? And I'll tell you there, man, it was looking very precarious for the euro, but it looks like the euro is trying to turn the corner here. And I noticed that commodity currencies, they jumped up as well. So, that's sort of like reflating the world economy. The crisis has passed, that kind of thing. The problem that I have here right now is that it feels as though the crack addict of the market is going to need more support, especially when we get into sort of like Q2 earnings. They're not going to be pretty. The econs themselves are all saying contraction right now. They're coming in a little bit better than expected, but they're still pretty bad nonetheless. So the real sort of $64,000 question for a guy like me right now is, the sentiment seems to be that we are going to need more stimuluses and all that kind of stuff. But the U.S. Government, the left-leaning body, has passed legislation to do that second stimulus package. But the right-leaning political party that is in control of another part of their government, has pretty much said that they will not endorse this bill. So I get the feeling right now that the market is anticipating that that bill will be passed. And I was even putting tweets out recently that are, kind of bothersome in that it turns out that some people are actually doing better on unemployment insurance and, food stamps and all that kind of stuff. They're actually doing better now than when they were slaves working at their 9-to-5 jobs. And you know that the right-wing political party in the United States of America is not going to like that at all. Workers are not supposed to live good lives, and they're certainly not supposed to be actually living better lives on social assistance and government aid than they were in their slave jobs. So I have a funny feeling that when push comes to shove, that legislation's not going to make it through the Senate, and then you-know-who has openly expressed that he will veto this if it comes across his desk. So put it all together, I'm a little worried that the market is sort of being lulled into sort of a false sense of complacency here. Should the poop hit the fan and that bill not pass the Senate, we could be right back in the soup. And that's usually how these things go. Is the whole stock market hinges on certain legislation passing. The conservatives in the government say, whoa, enough is enough. We don't want to spend any more money. We shoot it down. The market freaks out, panic dump, and they come scurrying back and say, okay, fine, we'll do it. The fact that didn't happen that last go round was actually a little bit of a surprise. And I remember specifically mentioning that there was one little right-wing conservative congressman who was like, excuse me, shouldn't we debate this a little bit? And everybody's like, shut up, yeah, pass the goddamn bill, which I thought was fascinating. I've never seen that before. So like I said, I always see new things in the market. So with that said, the inertia of the market, stocks, risk, it still appears to be up. And I'm not quite ready to sort of put a fork in it just yet, but my hunch is we could be getting really close to some sort of break. We had been talking recently about how I was a bit surprised that the market did work its way higher, but nonetheless we hit bought objectives on things like the crude oil. And I even sat there yesterday with you guys going, I don't know what's going to happen here, but all this overhead resistance, this is where a top should come in. And lo and behold, over the past, the past day or so, a rolling top has come in. And clearly now, if we go and break these highs, then it clearly means the oil's getting ready for another leg higher. And on balance, sell in May and walk away, typical seasonality. If this was any sort of typical year, or whatever the hell that is, I would be looking for a nice trade back down into the 20s here on the crude. You might even argue a nice little Adam and Eve top there. But we can't really call this a top and broke down until we go through this level here and the market M's out. So right now, still stuck in a trading range. And I don't know what the hell their plan is. Maybe, you can't write better fiction than reality. So whatever happens is going to happen. For now, I think we're in a range. And my hunch is probably support here is like 38.2s or something. If this does M out here, then I think we probably have to work our way down into 50% levels and reload zones through that very normal seasonal trough. So, it's certainly not the oil market leading the charge here today. What is? And it, ironically enough, it's still the small caps. A lot of money is pouring into the small cap arena. So as long as this Russell 2000 keeps outperforming and not Ming out versus the Dow, I think that it's a risk-on kind of environment. And we've got lots of little story stocks. This is a stock that we picked up recently, Rail. And I mean, gee whiz, you zoom out on this chart. Does this thing have any room to run up here? I mean, you tell me. Look at there's a huge old gap up there at 13 bucks a share. There's also another one right up in here at about 3. That would probably be my realistic target, a test of the underside of that range there. But it's just yet another example of all these little junior stocks. And what I'm hearing, this sort of scuttlebutt is, hey, maybe the market is finally returning to value. Oh, imagine that. Any way you shake it, I love charts that look like this, especially like this. I mean, I'm the type of guy, I just go buy this W, and I'd almost be willing to just put the damn thing away and forget about it. Pretty good fundamental story, but really will be, Brian will be going absolutely apeshit if you see this thing above $1.50. It's off to the races. So we'll see what happens. Good looking chart. And again, we're seeing a lot of that. It's not really the bigger stocks that are leading the charge here. Yeah, they're grinding their way higher. It's these small cap stocks. Some of them are just flying. I showed you that Village Farms Bank double. BITK, that thing went even higher today. I couldn't believe it. It almost hit my second double level today. So the market's frothy. Now, keep in mind, this is the time of year when the venture cap market should be the hottest, the frothiest, right? And unfortunately, that also, too, is a really good sort of tell that, yeah, we're getting near the end when all the pieces of crap start moving up, right? That's pretty typical of capitalism, so very much like the U.S. dollar index bonds, nothing's changed here, narrow sideways channel. Interesting to see how we start to show some signs of failure on the crude up top there, and the gold is trying desperately to find some sort of bottom here. And actually, I really like this because I showed you guys this yesterday, and I still think it's exactly the same. Nothing's changed here. Remember, we drew this trend line, and we talked about bots on the gold firing, and then we drew this little swoon kind of thing, thinking, if we do start to peter out here, we're probably going to have to come back down against that trend line. And look at that action, son of a bitch. So, lo and behold, guess who? Julian was hunting longs down in here, and I love his hunting long ideas against bottom ends or ranges. Really finite risk window. Excellent stuff. This has not broken down yet in my eyes. So we'll see how it goes. And interestingly enough, remember our silver conversation. I still think silver's leading the charge. And in a weird sort of way, I think you can make the similar analogy, kind of like what we're seeing with the small caps, the value rallying here. I showed you that rail. I mean, it's got a world of room to run up if it wants to. I think you make the same argument here with the gold and the silver, where gold is the big caps and silver is the small caps. And gold tried to get going, but kind of gee whiz, I'm awfully expensive. Look at this crazy ratio. Maybe if I really want to go find a store of value, let's maybe go look at silver. And silver's still rocking it here. I had pointed out that probably if you had botted this, maybe have your stop below these lows. Maybe below this low here, whatever. I find it fascinating that low here this morning from a few days ago was 17.19, and the low here this morning, 17.22.5. So clearly somebody does not want the market to go through those lows. And now you can clearly see we break these lows, and clearly this market's done. And probably gold breaks through this 1666, and she's done. But I wouldn't put a fork in it just yet. That was a big if. That wasn't it's happened. So I thought that was really fascinating here this morning. Moving on. I guess where's your list? I guess that's back over on this one here, right? So I talked a little bit about risk on being expressed through the junior market right now. Risk off, just going sideways. Maybe we're starting to see a little bit of firmness in the gold. Silver still working, kind of like the risk off kind of talk, or the junior market. The little guy is seeing his day in the sun right now. Too many stocks to actually talk about right now. I mean, I didn't sell anything on a double today. In these kind of markets, it's almost kind of funny. Oh, I didn't take a profit on something today? Gee whiz. But we did add a lot of uppy, and of course, if I get some fills on the sell side, I'd be more than happy to let you know. I did go and pick up a little stock here, but maybe I'll save that just for site members, because I don't think it's really fair to them that I tell you stuff that I buy here today. Heading on over to the corn. The message really hasn't changed a hell of a lot over the past few days. And I don't really expect it to change a heck of a lot over the next few days for Bitcoin in particular. This image is, it's basically my roadmap, and it seems to be working fairly well. I was kind of thinking that, we'd get like panics and get people freaking out, but we're probably going to just rally back up and settle back into this trading range. That looks like what is happening to me. And, sort of my challenge to the site and site members today is, you could really make the argument since April 30th that we're no longer in a trending market. We're actually in a ranging market. So if that's the case, how do you approach it? Hey, man, I got to trade, man. I got to do stuff. And so our conversation today was, okay, well, how do range traders trade? And that's this whole concept of reload zones and, understanding 38.2s as measures of strength and weakness and how you can interpret price action off of that. Also, too, I think the volume profile here gives us a very good idea of what the range is and where we should expect support and resistance. So it really, and this was a really cool conversation with the site in understanding divergence as a really important key to help you actually take half-decent trades. And this V bottom that we had that happened last week, I was leery about calling this a bottom because we did not have any signs of divergence here. Lo and behold, we went and broke those lows, and on this move, here to here, big fat divergence. Then we start getting W's. You could do reload zones. Looks like a half-decent long trade off the lows here, working your way back up to 50% rules, and probably, in my eyes, you might even make a realistic argument that we're probably going to work our way right back up into this reload short zone and against the original M top. That's the way trading ranges work. There's really no way to actually, determine who's going to win this battle in the end. Ideally, and I've sort of talked to you guys about this before, ideally I would like to see this natural, healthy play out. But this market might just consolidate, paint 3 higher lows, and then we have to start thinking bots taking us back up top. Interesting with the megaphone, the third tag of the megaphone actually sets up a pretty good trade. And actually, I don't think I did it on the public video yesterday, but we spent a lot of time on the daily brief showing that megaphone setup on the stock market, and how that third tag of the low actually set up a really interesting buy level off of a very appropriate technical level. So, like I said, I would prefer to see this scenario and get our third dump, tag the megaphone low for the third time, sets up a kick-ass buy signal at the bottom of value against the original sort of base. Remember, we did all these railroad track low. Damn, this looks pretty solid in here. And sure enough, it was. That would also bring us down 50% rules, maybe even a crazy-ass dip into a reload zone or something, set up just the most fantastic buy. And I still think the message stayed the same. If I can buy Bitcoins at or below cost of production, I think that's incredible, especially in this crazy-ass money-printing world. Who knows what the hell these companies' earnings are going to be. If I can go and buy a commodity at or below the cost that it actually costs to actually make the commodity, that's a pretty good buy in my eyes. What I'm worried about here is if we do bottom and ramp up and then go tag the megaphone to the upside first, 1, 2, 3... Jesus H. Christ, there could be one hell of a nightmare ahead of us. I would prefer not to see that scenario. But, it's just Brian's opinion. So fucking what? Anyway, hope that helped you. Give you a good idea of what I'm sort of seeing in the market. I have no idea how long I've been talking today, but I'm sure it's probably way too long. To finish off this video, of course, we love to just take a quick boo at the poop coins and anything that's hopping. I haven't checked myself. I've got a big whack of this ENJ over on Binance, and I just haven't bothered. Well, actually, I did log in. Then I went, oh, Binance, what's my average cost basis for this coin? Oh, sorry, fuck you. We don't keep that information. What? I mean, how amateur is this space? I mean, it's pathetic. So somehow I have to go back in my own records and figure out what the hell I have to pay for this. Thank goodness I saved some stuff from years gone by. But as you can clearly see, charts lower left to upper right. Obviously, we're doing pretty good. Kevin told me that he got off a double today. Way to go, Kevin. All-star. Does that surprise us? I mean, I think we have to change his name to Kevin. I just make money. Kavarkinator. Right? That's your last. Oh, wait a minute. What's your official title again? His Royal Highness.
I'm the Duke of Albuquerque.
Yeah, there you go. The Royal Highness. His Royal Highness. His worship. His Holy of Holies. The Duke of Albuquerque. Also known affectionately as the Kavarkinator, and also known as Kevin, I make money, whatever his last name is. I don't even know these people's last names. Welcome to the internet meme world. Anyway, so congratulations, Kevin. You look at this chart and you go, gee whiz, I can see look at this fucking kick-ass little W right in there, right? That's where all those Kavarkinator guys, they're all coming in on the long side. So, I mean, the point I try to show you this every single day, day in, day out, it's not like we're reinventing the wheel here, people. It's the same poop, just different pile, different day, different time, different bad channel, right? Same bad channel, beg your pardon. Same bad time. So, use this information that I impart on you. Get out there and you hunt W's. Get out there and hunt good trade locations. I mean, the irony of it all is if you take a fib and you just draw it back against these highs, what a surprise. Good old reload zones. Look where that bottom came in. I mean, this stuff, after a while, guys, it's just stunningly cliche. Right? I mean, you can't write a better cliche than that. And here's the end result. So, I hope I've made a positive difference in your life. I know Kevin has because he's such good karma. I even told him when he came on the call this morning, I was like, oh, nice warm blanket. Yay. Our purpose here is to try and help you. It's try and make a positive difference in your life. I try to be consistent day in, day out. Just generally say the same message. The funny thing about money management is it's not rocket science. It's just you have to somehow prevent yourself from ever thinking about buying in this kind of event. And unfortunately, that's exactly what the public does. Time in, time out, year in, year out, rinse and repeat. So get out there and have some fun. Use these tools that I'm trying to impart on you. Try and buy at the bottom end of ranges. W's are great. Divergences, right? Give nice volume confirmation. Spent a lot of time today actually pointing out the exact moment that the volume impetus gave a breakout signal on Bitcoin for those range traders this morning, and it was perfect. It was exactly like we teach in the course. It was absolute textbook. So use this information. It does work. It's kind of boring. It's slow, it's methodical, and then, of course, when your criteria comes in that you like, that you want to see, that gets you to spend money, when that criteria comes in, you have to act. Simple as that. Okay, everybody, why don't we leave it at that for today? Have yourselves an awesome rest of your day. PMA for the win. Way to go, Kevin, the Duke of Coolness. All the best, and bye for now.